Super.
BS.
Welcome.
Speaking of poop,
Let's just start.
We are. Yeah, we're gonna scrap that. Welcome.
No, you're going to the stocks.
No! This is my nightmare. Okay.
That's exactly how last week started. The nightmare thing too.
this could be a catchphrase.
I don't
Well, guys,
like it.
we're talking to you here from November 7th, exactly 1 week ago.
This is 14th.
No,
I was about
this
to
is
let
last
you
week's
bring us
episode.
in.
That's
You
why
could
we're
bring
talking
us
about
in.
stocks.
Okay, for reals. Do you want to bring us in, Eric? Okay.
Wait.
Go for it.
This is the worst intro ever.
I think
Okay.
this is gold.
Just leave it. It's good production value.
This is like all of our listeners, they like scored the best loot box for this intro.
Oh, man.
Oh, we should incorporate loot boxes into our like Patreon.
I think we're just gonna keep this soon. I'm sick of trying to start it. Okay, I'm gonna try one last time.
No. I think this is good.
No, let's keep
We
it.
Really?
we started.
Let's keep
Okay,
it.
there
They're
we
already
go.
listening.
Okay, my
Yep.
dudes. Okay, anyways, you guys know me. I'm Brian Wagner, the professor. Across from me is my boy. Who's my boy?
Oh, your boy Stank Bank.
your
What
boy.
up, my babies?
And next to my Stanky, who's my other boy.
I'm sitting diagonal from Brian Wagoner, the professor. I am Professor Brian Wagoner.
No. And who's that at the end?
Wait, if you're Professor Brian Wegener, who am I?
You're Brian Professor Wagoner.
Brian Professor. Okay.
You're Kyle Brofslowski, PhD DeVry University.
Yes.
So-
Yes. All I had to do was open the door.
And reach for the sky.
I apologize to everyone who's listening to this intro.
We also don't know how many of our listeners are former alum of DeVry.
All of
so-
them. This is a DeVry only podcast where we bring you the news about DeVry and what we love about it. What have you guys been playing? Let's just get to it. Josh, tell me.
Looked like you were looking inside it.
It's a very short. So I've been playing a little indie called N++. It's kind of like a little. Remember
Yeah.
that game that used to play in school called Stick Death? It's kind of like that, except it's not as violent. But
I don't know the stick death.
Yeah, I
from
did work
school.
during school. Did,
Yeah.
did
Oh,
you not?
oh, hey,
We had a lot of-
what?
Can you play it on a TI 83 Plus? Because that was what I was playing my games
Yeah,
on.
no, only on the
Oh,
original Macintosh. But
Anti-stickism was highly punishable at my school. So
Yeah.
But death.
but yeah, that's all I've been playing. I haven't gotten a chance to jump back into Super Mario yet.
Where are you in that game?
Where are you?
I'm still where I was last week. I haven't had time to play it.
So how many hundreds of moons do you have?
How many hundreds of moons do I have? I have probably 70. Not
So-
hundreds, but just
It's like
70.
3/4 of
About
100.
3/4. Yeah, I probably got a good, 30 hours left.
Oh my goodness. You only have
Oh, Brian's
not even
loud
100?
enough. Brian realized he wasn't loud enough and wanted to be
I
actually
know you want to be the
louder.
dominant voice on the podcast.
I was
There's
wondering
just too
why
many
my
other voices besides
Brian
mine.
Wagoner, professor for you.
I was wondering why my microphone was so I was so muffled, but I was speaking directly into it. So I figured out that mystery,
that PhD
So-
is in
That's just because you had your
noisology.
hand in front of your mouth.
and I was farting the whole time. Donna, what have you been playing?
I see. I played a lot more. I've taken an official break from Super Mario Odyssey, capping out at 825 moons.
were on a break.
That's not enough.
There's 999.
I'm really excited. I like the there's some light rumors going around that there could be DLC, which would be amazing. So I left myself. What I didn't want to do was leave only. There's a handful of moons that are frustrating beyond all things, and I didn't want to have to jump back into the game at some point and only have frustrating things to do. So I left myself a handful of like fun objectives.
How responsible of you.
Yeah, I was pretty responsible with it.
Yeah, it might be Delfino Island, man.
I
That might
discovered
be
the greatest
DLC.
combination of costumes, which is Skeleton Mario with Peach's bridal veil.
Nice.
You
Is
look
that Dia de los Muertos Mario?
basically,
Dia de
yeah.
los Morios?
Do you play random? That's my favorite way to do costumes. Where every time you die, you get a random costume.
Oh, how do you do that?
You just go to the any drawer or store or place where you put on clothes and press Y.
Oh, really?
It's awesome. So every time you die, you'll get it's not a like a costume. It's like
Yeah.
a bottom part and a top part that's totally different.
Why
That's
do they
hilarious.
let you mix and match?
Yeah.
They do, but I think when you mix and match, you don't show up that way in 8-bit mode. But yeah, so took a break there, and I eased my way back into my Fire Emblem Echoes playthrough that I've been working on earlier this year. Been having a lot of fun with it. It's a great strategy game. It's a remake of one of the older games in the series, so it's a lot more stripped down. There's not a ton of like romance that you have to waste time with, and it's a little bit easier on the random number generators for stat level ups. So there's a bit more just basic battle strategy involved without having to, constantly do things that diehard Fire Emblem fans do, like every time you level up, reset if you're not happy with the stat ups that you get. I mean, spending hours and hours and hours and hours kind of doing all that stuff. This game is a lot easier to sort of just play. You get to play through with 2 different armies at the same time, so it's kind of an interesting story there.
Was this the Switch one?
No,
No,
this is a 3DS. It's a remake of I think a Super Nintendo game called Fire Emblem Gaiden or Gaiden Fire Emblem or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's on the 3DS, and I'm hoping that the Switch one that comes out is a little bit like this. I would hate for the Switch one when it comes out to be more like Fates, where it was like 3 games
Yeah.
where they're related to each other, but there's no point to playing all of them, and they're not really like that. There's just like a mess of things.
I don't think they'll do Fates again.
Yeah.
I read enough like criticism of it that I just can't imagine it. Did anybody get Fire Emblem Warriors though? The Switch game that just came out?
I was interested in it, but
Yeah.
the main reason that I didn't get it was because I was also like, I bought Hyrule Warriors when that came out, and
Another
it's
Musou
super
game.
fun, but it's just kind of like, it's hard to play those
Yeah.
after a while.
It's just a Dynasty Warriors game.
It's
Yeah,
literally
that-
Dynasty
Yeah,
Warriors.
but the
Okay.
Fire Emblem one is supposedly interesting because there are tactical elements to it, which a lot of games don't have.
Yeah, that's what I read too, and I want to try it, but I just don't think $60 is worth it. So, anything else you played, or just
Yeah,
Fire-
I've been trying to get back into my Breath of the Wild playthrough,
Oh,
just
man,
to
that
have
game's great.
more.
How are you
Kind of-
feeling about that game?
I'm enjoying it. I'm probably going to start it over though, just because it loses its fun when you're trying to see with a game like Fire Emblem. I haven't played it in 5 months or so, but it's because it's a strategy RPG and you're playing these tactical battles. It's easy to get back into the game because you just kind of like fight enemies on the map. And then you kind of remember, okay, these are my classes. These are where I'm leveling. This is where I'm doing this. You kind of can ease yourself back into it. But with Zelda, you're kind of at a point where, especially since I'm not really that far into it, there's like a rhythm that you develop for learning to look at the environment and trying to climb things and look for shrines and all that kind of stuff. And you lose that because you're just trying to remember what you were doing and how to play the game and what people you've talked to or not. So it's not as fun in a free exploration game like that to sort of get your bearings back in. And it's not like Skyrim, which is also easy to get back into, even though it's similar, like open world kind of game.
Well,
because everything in Skyrim is
Yeah.
fun but meaningless. So
Because Zelda, a lot of the side quests are tied to the story. There's some kind
there's a lot more limitations in Zelda, which make everything more valuable in a sense. But yeah, it's a beautiful game. So it's
And are you
Yeah.
guys gonna
Yeah.
play the DLC?
it depends on what it
probably-
is.
Champions, I think it's called. It's
Yeah.
like the
it's
prequel.
it's like a new quest line and new dungeon and
Yeah,
new
it's,
story.
it takes place
Wait,
before.
There's
There's a video or what? I
no,
didn't
it's
see
just
anything
what
about it.
it's just when you go to the DLC and it says what it is. It says,
Oh.
"Oh, new dungeon, new storyline."
Oh, okay.
I don't know if it's come out yet.
There's also a quest in game for Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like
I just pre-ordered that.
when I
today.
loaded the game up, is there an edition for that? Like a cool edition with the stuff?
There is, but there's no Amazon Prime discount.
Oh, butts.
When does that come out?
I'm just curious. Do I get 10 minutes to talk about the games I'm playing too, or?
Of course.
Okay.
You
as long
get
as you're playing,
100
as long as you're
minutes.
playing 10 minutes worth of games.
Oh, I think I can do it if I talk about every other game I played.
Okay. Well, no. Okay. Let's get to you. You did have a cool announcement. You played something and beat
I
something.
played all 3 of these games this week, so
Okay.
What'd you play?
I played Ori and beat it.
Nice. What do you think of the ending?
It was okay. I thought it was a little anticlimactic compared to the last dungeon that you escape. And I also was looking forward to a big boss fight with the owl at
Yeah.
the end, and I was gearing up for that. And
There's no boss fights in that game,
no,
right?
there aren't.
Yeah.
There's a couple stages where you have to beat all enemies before a room will let you pass, but otherwise, there's no boss fights.
I think it's better for that. I don't think
Yeah,
that game
it's
would
just a
be
pure platforming
it'd be
game.
so if they had a bad boss fight, it would ruin something that was.
Well, now you just upgrade to Cuphead.
Yeah.
I
Or
do-
not upgrade, but side grade.
I do need a side grade to up.
Fight only bosses.
Oh, that's right. It's
You
like
should.
it's like started off as a boss rush, right? And then they just
Yeah.
decided to add some platforming
They
into
should have
it.
just not had the. I mean, the platforming levels aren't bad; they are fun, but they should have just had another boss. I think I would have had more fun.
I'd
Um,
recommend Ori though for sure. You guys should all play.
What do you
it
think of
and
the
beat it.
ending? Did you get some tears? Did it get you in the feels?
I didn't get hit in the feels at the ending. I had been hit in the feels while playing that game
It's so cool.
in
so
previous.
beautiful.
Yeah, it is. It really is. In previous segments, but I played it like I was on the very last part of the game. I was on hard. It was a little bit frustrated, and I just like knocked it out real quick and wasn't expecting to beat it. It was in the middle of the afternoon. It wasn't in like a feels moment. So
Oh yeah, I guess yeah. If you finish a game in the middle of the afternoon, it's never like
yeah, it was kind of anticlimactic.
Except for Kingdom Hearts 1 when I finished that in the middle of the afternoon as a kid. I remember like thinking like I can't play another game now. I finished something I loved. Do you remember
You're
that?
only allowed to talk about games you played this week.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
because I will
Brian.
snap you. I'll smite you.
Okay, well I actually didn't even let Josh.
Oh, I
finish.
wasn't
Wait,
done
what else
talking
has Dave been
yet.
playing? Jeez.
Yeah,
Oh, you played
wow.
another thing?
Yeah.
Oh, what'd you play?
I re-upped my World of Warcraft
Oh.
subscription after
Oh,
last
did you
week's
really?
call or last week's podcast.
Oh man, what have you been
Yeah.
doing, huh?
I've been playing a mage for the first time. I've actually never tried playing a mage.
I thought that was your first. You were undead warlock, and I
Mhm.
thought you had a mage. Was your
No,
second?
I always had a paladin, good cop, bad cop thing. I always thought mages were dumb because it's like, why would I be someone who's not inherently evil? You know, like why not play a
Yeah.
warlock?
Why don't you just play the devil?
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
That's your favorite
what
character.
I always do.
Play the devil.
But yeah, I've been playing that, and it's been actually really fun. It's I mean, I'm not gonna play it to completion or level up to.
You're not gonna get all the achievements.
No, I'm not gonna get every WoW achievement.
Yeah, they added. Did you play that?
Do they have
Donna, when they
achievements
added-
in that?
Yeah, they
achievements?
do.
When did they do that?
I want to say
Years
after Burning
ago.
Crusade, maybe.
Yeah.
I played like post Burning Crusade.
Yeah, that's when we all kind of jumped on it that one summer. I want
I
to say
think
right
it was
after
in
Burning
Lich King that
Crusade.
they added achievements.
Yeah, I never got into them. They were stupid. There were so many
I mean,
of them.
some of them are okay to get. I get them on accident mostly. Just every
But I
time
mean, if
do
you're
anything.
achievement hunting, they're insane. To
If
get
you're
them. Is-
achievement hunting, I wouldn't play WoW because there's so many.
Another off topic. Final Fantasy XI's achievements were the worst ever.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, the
yeah.
MMO had achievements?
Oh yeah, they did.
Yeah, on the Xbox version.
Oh.
But I mean, you could only get them if you played the game
You
like.
had to devote your life to playing
Josh,
that game
did
to
you ever
get
get
them.
one, Josh?
No, I remember I tried.
I think I got one like unlocking sub jobs and stuff.
Yeah.
Like when you get there and
Well, because the expansions all had achievements for just playing through them, but like a lot of the expansions were so like you had to be a very high level.
oh
to
man,
play
the
a lot of
expansions
them.
in that game are insane.
Yeah.
Did
they're
you guys
like-
ever get to the end game?
No.
No.
It's
Is it really hard in that game?
It is. It's extremely hard, and it's like you need a group. Like you need like a solid group.
And even at a high level in a group, you're still like getting destroyed. Like you
There's
have to.
they've made nerfs though, like they did in WoW, like where
Yeah.
there's raid bosses that could never be beaten, and now they can. Like they
Yeah.
did the same thing with like Shinryu and stuff.
Jeez.
But the hardest thing for me getting to the end game in 11 was just simply that I had such bad internet during the years that I was able to play it. That
Oh,
It's
yeah.
still like the time between modem and DSL.
Yeah,
They had
so-
It's
crazy.
funny because you could always see who was suffering from that. You'd walk out into the marketplaces
Yeah.
and some guys just spinning in circles.
and then there was a year where I bought it because it was like $10 to buy the base game and all the expansions on Xbox 360, and then I bought that and I had better internet and played, and I had a lot of fun with it. It's a cool game to explore, and it's like a fun world, but I wasn't able to. I didn't stick with it really.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a good. I mean, 14's better. But anyways,
14, yeah, is way better.
Yeah.
Josh, what is in plus plus? I think I totally interrupted you.
Oh,
in the
no,
sentence.
it's fine, man. M++ is kind of like I don't even know how to describe it. Imagine,
Platformer, right?
yeah, it's a platform, but imagine like a game like Streets of Rage, but with stick figures.
It's not Super Meat Boy. It's not that one where it's like you go through the stages and there's like an exit and they're all really small
so,
stages and you jump around.
Yeah, you're jumping around, and you have like little dots flying at you and little platforms moving. You basically just
Isn't that Box Boy what you're talking about?
No. This was this game's on like everything. I want to say it's in plus, and now there's in plus plus.
Yeah,
Okay.
M++
which also
is
came
a
out.
sequel to M+. But yeah, it's not my kind of game. I'm not like too into it, but it was just, it was free, so I picked it up and
Free where?
I got a review code for it.
Oh,
I was gonna
nice.
ask, what's your next review thing you're working on?
Probably N++, but it's not going to be a good review.
It's gonna be a great review. He
Spoilers.
loves
Spoiler
it.
alert.
Sorry guys, we're gonna have to lock this podcast up for a couple weeks till he gets that in plus
Yeah,
plus
we'll
review up.
fix that in post.
This has been our best episode yet.
It's a 10 out of 10 on Steam, Josh. Are you sure you're gonna give it a
It's just
negative
not. It's just not my type of game.
Josh hates everything that people love. Come at him. Come at him.
What? What?
His Twitter is Josh Friend, and come at him. Anyways,
Currently ripping my shirt off.
anything else? Just in plus plus?
No, that's it. Yeah, I want to jump back into Super Mario. Might pick up Skyrim for Switch because I'm gonna be doing some traveling next week.
Yes, that's crazy. It
Will this
comes
be
out
the-
this
Fast
Friday.
traveling?
What's that?
Fast traveling?
Fast traveling. Yeah. Yep.
Will this be the 4th or 5th time you've purchased Skyrim?
Probably the fourth. I want to
Oh,
say.
wow.
Did you buy
but
it on Xbox One?
I did.
Oh
I
my
did.
God.
So I'm gonna climb
You
some
got it.
towers, unlock some travel destinations, and I'm gonna be gone this week. So
Well, I'll make what I've been playing short and brief. I have been.
wait, what have you been playing?
Don't do it.
What was the question? Oh, he's gonna do the thing.
Yeah, he just did the thing.
Oh.
He's been
Anyways,
playing shorts and briefs.
shorts and briefs. I have still been playing Super Mario Odyssey. I think that's the only thing I've been playing too. It's great. I'm. At
It's a
seven-
great. You just talk like
It's
Mario.
great. I'm at 770 moons, so I'm getting to the point where there's just the frustrating moons left to get. But
It's a lot of frustrating moons.
there's still just a lot of really, really you just run around. Oh, there's a moon here on the ground, but I haven't decided if I'm gonna play through it and go guide and just get all of the moons or not do it.
How many moons do you have, Eric? Or Donnie?
825.
830.
825,
Yeah,
that's a
so
lot.
he's quite a bit, about 50 moons ahead of me. The biggest
Does that
problem
math check out?
for me, well, yeah, he's 825 and I'm 775 around, so yeah, it's about 50. Anyways, the biggest the biggest thing for me is I don't know if I'm gonna get all the moons because they made the moon with jump rope, and that moon is just total super BS. It's
Yeah.
the
Whoa,
name of our
what?
show.
It's like our show here.
Yeah, it is. It's dumb. They should have made it so. Me and Donna have talked about this a million times over.
Do you think that maybe they made that stuff difficult so you would keep playing it though, instead of they don't
Yeah,
expect you to
but
beat it
those
right
are-
away?
There's two moons like that are very similar. There's that and there's volleyball. And the problem is that they are super challenging but not fun.
Yeah.
So because all you do, have you been to New Donk City yet?
No, he's only
Yeah.
No, I'm
So
About
you basically on
The first level,
in the
probably.
level there's these two women playing jump rope,
Oh,
and
nice.
then all you do is whenever they start going, you just as Mario you run in and hop, and then they get faster every 5 jumps up until 50, but you have to get 100 to get the moon,
Yeah.
and so
And the first moon's 15, I want to say, right?
So
15.
how fast do you have to mash the button down to get
You
that?
can't-
that's the
you
thing
can't
is
just
you
do it that
can't
way.
mash because then you get all sorts of weird jumps and jump animations where you randomly do double jumps.
Yeah.
Throws everything off. So you have to time it supposedly to when they say hey, or supposedly to when the dirt, when the rope hits the dirt. But it's really frustrating, and it's the kind of thing where you can get to 80 and then lose it.
Does it count for you, or do you have to count yourself?
It counts
No,
on
it
the
counts
bottom right.
for you.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's the thing is it's if you get to 80 painstakingly and then you miss one, it's what's the impetus to do that again?
Yeah.
Because it's not
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
fun the moon that you walked in on me trying to do that really insanely hard.
I love this sentence. It's always
It's a very
the best.
intimate moment.
You walked
Yeah.
in on my moon process.
He was walking on me. Don't
You
look.
walked in on my moon doing. But that particular moon is super hard, but was fun to kind of keep doing.
Did you ever get it?
No, I left. I haven't gone back to that, but because it's like a platforming challenge. You know, you have to run really fast. You have to time your jumps. You have to time your runs. You have to do all that, and that's fun. But this is just like
you have to just
tedious.
hit the jump, but you can't hit too quick. You can't really even time it really because it moves at a pace where you're just hoping you don't get hit. And and at least volleyball, people have found a cheat online where you can play the game as 2-player, and then you move around as a hat, and the hat moves way faster. So you just hit the ball whenever, and they have a grace period when it hits the ground, so you can hit it on the ground and still get it. But for the jump rope, you can't do anything.
What is the 2-player? Sorry, change the subject real quick.
Yeah.
What is the 2-player in that game, Duke? Is it like
second player plays as the hat?
Oh no,
Yeah.
really?
Weird.
Danny, our friend Danny, is actually playing it with his daughter, his 3-year-old.
The only way he's playing it, he said.
Yeah, and so he said it's like playing the game on super hard mode because he plays as Mario and he has to get his daughter to like throw the hat in the right places.
So are you stuck until someone throws it? Like, is
I
that the
mean,
whole thing?
It's cool because if you have 2 really skilled players, you can set up incredible jumps. But if you have 2 people who aren't
Incredible jumps.
I just mean you can do like, you could put the hat in the middle of 2 walls and then keep jumping off of it.
It's incredible.
Is that all you're playing, Brian?
Yes, that is it. I love that game. There are way too many great games out there, though, right now. And honestly, let's get into the news before we get into all of our other stuff, just a little bit, because we'll spread out the news. We have a lot to talk about. Let's do...
The news this week is mostly hilarious, by the way. I think we should start with the simplest, funny news thing first. Switch icons.
Oh, Switch icons. People
there's
have
a
been
thing-
going up in arms, though,
There's
about
a
this
thing,
for a while.
Right, that's the thing. That's what's so funny, though. There's a thing now where on the Switch home screen that fans are unhappy with the way the icons for games look, so they bitch about it on Twitter. And then now the developer today for Kingdom New Lands, which is a cool looking game,
so
they released a trailer for their updated icon. I'm pretty sure it's a joke, but it's really funny that
That's
this
the
is
only
this
thing
is
that's
the
in the
thing.
trailer.
That's the only thing it is. It's like, this is our new icon.
Are these like thumbnail images?
Yeah,
Yeah,
these
the
are-
thumbnail
yeah.
images.
Wow.
So the original one was like a pixelated crown, which fits with the theme of the game. The new one is this like cool looking thing of the game.
But it also shows the name, right? Because
Yeah.
people are really angry if it doesn't have the name of the game in the art. Because
It's like they've done so much right that people just need something to complain about.
it's just a funny thing because they want their home screens to look a certain way. So it's like, it's just so, it's such a weird thing. It's hilarious.
It is a weird thing to even think about because, like, when you're a little kid, you'd be like, "Oh, that's just how it looks," and there's no
Yeah.
control over
You
this
can't change
whatsoever.
it.
They're just
Yeah.
so used to Netflix changing their thumbnails every like.
it's only a matter of
3
time
weeks.
before one of these services start giving us
I mean,
alternate thumbnails.
and that's the other
you
thing,
can
too.
start switching.
That's the other thing is that consoles and thumbnails, that's only the last couple generations. Because, in a like the Super Nintendo, you don't go to a home screen. You just put the game in and turn it on. Like PC, of course, has always had thumbnails for shortcuts and stuff. But
I just mean like fans being able to customize things upon demand.
Right.
I think that
It's
is like
crazy.
the creepiest thing
Well,
ever.
I say we go into the next big news article
Which is
after this
also hilarious.
about.
well, so
Yeah.
you gotta preface it with what EA did.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, though, this is exactly what he's talking about and what's been changed.
Yeah,
since.
but see, this would be more of the positive side of.
It is,
Yeah.
and this is a
So-
positive thing, but it's still not perfect. Go ahead.
So here's what it is. So Battlefront 2 comes out today, right? Or comes out
No.
Friday.
So if let's get into let's fill in everybody the real. So Battlefield's or Battlefront 2's special $79.99 edition, or maybe it's only the $99.99 edition, comes out today.
Okay.
The real game comes out next week.
Oh, okay.
So if you have
Tuesday.
EA Access, their $5 a month, $30 a year membership, you got it last week
So
for 10 hours.
$400. Sorry, do you still have to pay for all the loot?
We'll
get into that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just wanted to start off on the right foot. Yeah. So this is only for people who've paid a lot of extra money. Do they get the game now a week early?
Okay, so what EA has done, because there's been a lot of talk about loot boxes in the news the last couple weeks or the last couple months, because all of the major AAA games this year have basically adopted loot boxes.
It's crazy. It is
And
literally insane.
It's mostly hated,
Yeah.
of course, but like we talked about last week, Ubisoft, they released like financial reports and it showed how much money they make on these loot boxes.
It's crazy.
And someone who
Hearthstone makes so much money on their. I mean, that's their free to play game, and they
but
make
who are
millions.
we-
Like, that game's always been like that, though.
I was talking to a friend, and he said because his wife used to work for WB Games,
Okay.
and they were talking about the data on that, and that like 90% of those loot box transactions that these companies come from like 4% of the players.
Yeah, it's not a
There's
huge thing.
South
They're called
Park
whales.
about that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whales.
That's the South Park episode
Oh,
where they
man, I
talk
love
about
that.
mobile gaming.
Yeah, freemium isn't free.
Yeah.
That's such a great
It's
episode.
sad. Is really what it is.
Yeah.
Like the exploits of.
So, but what EA did with Battlefront 2 is that they, of course, tried to doll it all up. So they released loot boxes, but said that you can unlock everything in game without loot boxes.
Yeah.
And the main concern of unlock, besides player advantages such as like cards to equip that offer stat bonuses and things like that, and upgrade paths, are the characters. Because in Battlefront,
The heroes,
the hero characters, right? So they released these things, like Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker were like 70,000 credits, which is the in-game currency.
Some people said about 40 hours of
No,
play.
60 to 70.
Oh, really?
Because for you about per match you get about 215 to 280 credits.
Wow.
So basically, to unlock one character, you are playing like an entire epic RPG's worth of play.
Or you only spend $5.
And so, yeah, I think it's probably way more than $5. If it was $5, this would be less of a thing.
I think it could even be. I mean, one character for $5 is a lot of money when it's just one unlock.
It's also
know?
guaranteed. If it's $5, I think the majority of people would go, okay, I'll play. I'll
Yeah,
buy
but the
it."
hard thing is that there's a lot of different hero characters,
Yeah.
and if you know, it's like you're either investing in one or spending real life money on one, or buying loot boxes to randomly get credits and things to get them, and you don't even know if you like playing as that one because there's not a
trial.
Yeah, there's not a
Some
trial
games
with
have
them.
been good where they allow you to try the characters. I want to say, I honestly think League of Legends is probably the best example of a game
Yeah.
out there that lets you like try the stuff before you buy it.
The Middle Earth MOBA did that same thing where they would rotate which characters were free, and
Yeah.
so that you could
It's a smart-
try it before you buy it.
smart
Yeah,
move.
that's something that EA should consider doing. But so EA went on Reddit and did like I don't know if they did an AMA. They just did like a post defending, saying like we wanted every character unlocked to feel like we wanted players to feel a real sense of accomplishment for everything they unlock.
That was the
Something
best.
like that, and it became the most downvoted comment in Reddit history. But not
minus
just
30,000 or something.
300 something thousand.
Oh, wow.
So,
Jeez.
but here's the thing: the next closest comment was 20,000. So they didn't just become the most downvoted comment in Reddit history. It was like by a massive amount. So now they've released a statement that they've cut the cost of these characters to like 10,000 credits or something.
It's a lot lower. It's 75% reduced. But
Yeah.
it's still, people are saying it's still going to take a while.
It's still 15 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
75% reduced is still huge. Now, to be fair, not every character is as expensive as Vader and Luke Skywalker, which were like the 80,000 credit ones.
Leia Organa.
But those
and
were
a few
still
others.
like 40,000, 50, so it's still a lot of time investment. And Battlefield 2,
Or Battlefront.
sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Because they
Battlefront
have the
2, yeah.
same name. It's so close styles.
So Battlefront 2 is supposed to be like outside of the loot box hacks, a really awesome game.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
we'll see.
just to get temperature for the room, Josh or Dave, are you guys looking at this game? It looks pretty awesome.
Not really. Not right now.
Yeah, I mean, there's
maybe
too
in
many
the
other good
future.
games.
I am looking at it because
single player campaign's supposed to be awesome.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Can you play it without having to spend thousands of dollars on DLCs and
Yeah,
live
so
how long is it, do you
subscriptions and
know?
all
Real
that?
quick, one positive thing I want to add is these loot boxes suck, but they got rid of season passes, so there's no maps or anything that are going to be locked.
I would play it for the
So-
single player campaign, but
How long is a single player campaign? Do we know?
6 to 8 hours, I
Oh,
think.
that's not bad.
okay. Well, I just changed my mind.
Why?
I'm not gonna buy a $60 game for 6 hours of gameplay.
Dave.
That's ridiculous.
That's actually kind of the norm, though. Now, 60
not
hours.
for me.
Okay.
But yeah, maybe for people who
Ne-
like can
next-
spend money like
Next
whatever.
Black Friday, Dave, you got
Yeah,
this.
maybe next Black Friday.
It will probably be $10, like what I paid for Battlefront 1.
Okay.
That's-
yeah, that's $1 an hour. That's $1 an hour. Movie quote. What's
Yeah.
that from? Napoleon Dynamite.
All of them.
Everything.
But yeah, I feel bad for EA because they also won the worst company 2 years in a row, 2012, 2013.
I mean, a lot of these things, they come down to the fact too that the economics of game pricing, like game prices should have gone up
A long
10
time
years
ago,
ago, and
Yeah.
they haven't. They've stayed the same $60 for however many years now. Whereas there was games during the Super Nintendo era that were $80.
Yeah.
You know,
And
Wasn't the technology cheaper now, even though the budgets are
No,
probably
no, no,
more?
no, no,
But aren't they expected to make more money on each game?
I guess because
Not
there's
because of their
larger base,
budgets,
but
yeah.
yeah, the budgets are now in the hundreds of millions.
There's a huge issue with bloat in budgets and
Yeah.
stuff. And part of that, hopefully, the way evolution goes is that, we'll get things that are more scaled back and focused instead of every game being a map game. But
Yeah.
Right. But what's the
Yeah.
what's the return on investment on these humongous games though?
I think right now it's not actually, they don't really have a set return on investment anymore because some of these games make
All their
literally
money in the-
hundreds
in the
and
back.
hundreds of millions, and some don't make their money back.
Hmm.
Like that's why there's a company called Volition. Like we really are bad about doing this on Super BS, but a lot of companies did layoffs recently, like a ton. I want to
Are you
say,
saying we're gonna do layoffs?
yeah, we're doing
that's,
layoffs. We have 4
that's,
people.
that's normal, though, with development cycles.
But I mean, like, you remember the company who did Saints Row? They
Yeah.
made a game called Agents of Mayhem. It came out in August. I want to say they let off or let go of like half of their staff because it didn't
Yeah.
sell well.
That's pretty common though, right? To let go teams that
I thought that
like,
was a
when games do
popular
well.
game, though.
Saints Row was. Agents of
No.
Mayhem
Yeah, the
did
problem-
not sell anything.
The problem is, I don't know if the technology is cheaper because AAA games keep going up and up in price, and all of the mid-tier AAA game, like, 'cause that's the thing. Like,
Yeah.
I don't even remember hearing about Agents of Mayhem, and I keep up with the game news.
Yeah,
And
it was
Volition,
in and
Saints
out.
Row is like a big franchise,
Yeah.
but they definitely don't have the budget that a massive company does to like keep up and compete.
yeah.
You know,
And it's crazy because like games like, you guys remember Torchlight? The Diablo ripoff? That
Yeah.
was really cool. They got their whole company shut down this
Yeah.
last week, which was a bummer because their last game, Hob, which was like a PlayStation 4 exclusive that came out, I want to say around the same time like as Cuphead. Like right around then, like wasn't interested in all those. Like obviously that it came out then and nobody cared because there was 6 other games that were big that came out that same day.
yeah.
This whole thing with loot boxes, though, I remember it in the dawn of DLC, like people were saying kind of the same thing. So do you think?
Yeah, but in DLC it was a lot. With the dawn of DLC, it was different because you're getting more content.
Yeah.
Loot boxes, you're getting advantages basically. Sometimes
Yeah.
content, when you count like, oh, I got credits to buy characters, or in-game currency or something like that.
So loot boxes, I think, are, in my opinion, okay because I've never had to buy them as long as they are not unfair. So like in Battlefront 2, they're slightly unfair. So I'm like, that's dumb. But you know what? It's better than that stupid pass they used to put in new games only, where like if you bought the used game, you would have to. I never bought the used game, but it was like an EA pass they made that was $10 or $15 that you could only play online if you had this passcode. You remember
yeah,
that?
I remember
It was the
that.
Xbox 360 era, and everybody like revolted against it, so they stopped doing it.
Yeah.
But so we'll see. We'll see what the consumers, all the people decide to do. But Battlefront 2 is definitely getting the heat on them, considering Shadow of War, Call of Duty, and every other game released loot boxes.
I guess Shadow of War is not really a multiplayer game though.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. Is it when it affects competitive play?
Yeah.
Wasn't there a game where you could buy loot boxes, or you could buy stuff that would put you in like lower ranked matches with really good weapons, and you just be able to mow over everybody?
I mean, I don't know about that, but that idea is Hearthstone. Essentially, you rise up the ranks as you're playing, and however much money you spend gives you like whatever.
No, that's not true.
Okay, but hey, say you're a brand new player and you spend $50 and you get Ragnaros and all these other people.
Well, Ragnaros you can't play anymore. In
Okay, well, whatever. The original thing.
I know what you're getting at, and this is why I think that Blizzard should have implemented a tiered system within Hearthstone matchmaking based on your card score. Like that, your deck would have a score based on how valuable all the cards were, I think based on the rarities. But obviously, they never implemented that. And yeah, I agree that that's a problem with Hearthstone. But there's a lot of skill involved in Hearthstone as well, and luck. So even if you do have an amazing meta deck, and this actually changes season to season when new cards and things are released, but yeah, it really is about, I think it's more about skill, at least when I was playing it in the vanilla age. I think there was some pretty popular streamer who recently accepted a challenge where he thought he was good enough that he could go on, make a brand new account with all basic cards and then rise through the ranks. And he was saying that he was having trouble at like 18 and 19 ranks because he started hitting meta decks like in the 18s and 19s.
Now, right?
Now.
Okay,
Yeah.
because it used to not be so bad.
No, and I think that's because, like you were saying, people spend $100, $50, and get a meta deck, and then they're considered competitive. I guess I was confused because it wasn't really like that when I was playing the game
Yeah.
previously.
I think what this all kind of hints at is that all of this takes away from just playing the game.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is it's like loot boxes, they are a distraction because it's like they come with advantages in most cases. I mean, there's a handful of games I think that have purely cosmetic loot boxes.
Yeah.
Or even a game like Shadow of War where, the review consensus of everything that I read about the game is
Don't need
that
it.
it's not like, oh, you can buy these loot boxes or just spend 40 hours. It's like you're going to be fine just playing through the game normally. You'll get everything
Yeah.
with reasonable amounts of time.
Because the game's pretty long anyways, so
That's the same with
Exactly, yeah.
Assassin's Creed Origin.
Yeah,
People said like,
exactly.
hey, you could buy the stuff if you really don't want to ever play anything extra, or you could play like a couple hours of side quests.
Yeah, but I think that kind of goes into that Nintendo article that I linked to you guys, where it talks about respect for players' time. It talks about
Right.
kind of trying to break down what big games are in a sense, because it does eventually these things do distract from just playing a game. And with competitive games especially, it's challenging. I can imagine with something like Hearthstone, where it's a competitive game and involves all these different factors, and there is a not just a need to for Blizzard to put out new content for a game,
Yeah.
but a desire to, like, as like a player, you want to see new cards. Like, it's not like you want like just however many hundred of cards there was in the vanilla age, which is also when I played Hearthstone.
180 or something, I want to say.
Yeah, I don't know.
Wasn't
Yeah,
sure.
it's like
About that.
It's exciting when new content comes out, but then
Yeah.
it comes with so many problems.
Yeah.
Um,
I will say that for Battlefront 2 and a lot of these games, I would much rather have optional loot boxes than forced season passes where they
True.
splinter the player base and you don't get the maps unless you pay. Like Battlefront 1, the reason why I didn't buy it till it was $10 is because you had to pay $50 additional to the game to get the maps. And there
Sure.
were only 4 maps in the base game.
Yeah, it does change for me because I was actually looking forward to the multiplayer Battlefront 2, which is supposed to be great. And I don't look forward. I mean, I'm not a huge multiplayer player, so there's not a lot of times where I'm looking forward to it.
But I think you'll still enjoy it. I
Yeah.
played it without spending any money and in the beta, and it's not the best thing ever, but you'll jump in it. You'll play a few matches. You're not probably going to be like none of us here are going for esports pro 420 no scope gaming.
420.
What's the 420?
420.
You
Yeah.
said
Just
that, you said
every
that
single-
before.
Smoking weed.
That is that's literally
that
in
connect to
every
420
every
or-
single no scope person's name ever. There's no like XX420
Oh,
no
yeah.
scope.
No scope, just dope.
Just dope 420. Anyways, I want to talk more about the open world stuff, but I want to get some stock corners. We got a guest talking. Let's take a quick breaky poo.
Sure.
Hey everyone, venture into the pop culture cosmos today, where you'll hear our conversations on different topics within the world of movies, TV, video games, comic books, technology, board gaming, and more. You'll also get a taste of some of our other shows within the cosmos as well. So come on and join us each week as we delve into the pop culture cosmos.
Welcome to the Pop Culture Cosmos.
Bring, bring. Oh, who's that on the phone? Bring. Let me get it. Hello? This
Dave's
is
the
Super
best
BS. Young King
Vita
Dave.
Vita?
Sorry, what? Who is this? Reggie?
No, hey, sorry guys, it's Veet Veet Mesquite here.
Oh,
Shake
Veet
Boy.
Veet Mesquite.
Of course.
Wow.
Veet
Uh,
Mesquite
Vita
himself.
Vita.
You guys just missed Reggie though. Me and him were talking some sweet Mario stuff going on.
Oh,
but
cool.
he bailed right now. We got into a fight and
Dang.
I punched him. He kicked me.
He ate a
but-
pizza from Pizza Hut. His whole company stopped. Old president of Pizza Hut himself ate a big
I
pizza.
Reggie the Hut.
I was questioning his commitment to the podcast, and he got all butthurt. So
Dang.
Reggie,
Is this the quiz? Is this part of the quiz?
no, but
This is the
But-
quiz.
Oh,
Writing
okay.
down
better
everything
be
he
slick.
says.
Let's be on the test.
Better effing remember where you said it.
So Veet Veet
No.
Mesquite, we're told
He-
that you have a special treat for us.
no, Reggie had a quiz prepared, and I
Oh.
guess I'm gonna have to do it for him.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
You're the
I'll tell-
proctor.
Tell Reggie's a fucking
Proctorologist.
bastard, okay? Hate that guy.
All right, we'll proceed.
Proceed.
All right, we'll jump right into it. I'm not even going to give you the topic. You're just going to have to figure it out based on my questions.
See.
Okay.
My God. Is that one of the questions? What the topic is?
What is Mary Shelley's most favorite and famous book?
No.
Frankenstein.
It's all about Lord Byron,
right.
actually.
Lord
Okay.
Byron.
Ready, guys?
Yeah.
All
ready?
right. 3 questions, right?
Yes.
Thanks to Reggie. Okay. Out of the 33 games that make up the complete Castlevania franchise, how many of them incorporate the creature from Mary Shelley's amazing novel, Frankenstein?
I'm glad
One more
we got
time.
a joke
One more
question.
time. Out of the 33 games that make up the complete Castlevania franchise, how many incorporate the creature from Mary Shelley's amazing novel, Frankenstein, or the modern Prometheus?
I mean,
These real
how many of them
questions
include
are just
Frankenstein?
a joke.
How many words was that question?
10.
So Professor Jacob Schlanken, are we gonna do question by question, or are you gonna do all the answers at the end?
No, let me know when you finish, and I'll go on to the next question.
Okay. We ready, guys?
I'm ready.
Yes,
I don't
I'm
have a
ready.
clue what that is, so let's go. Let's go to 2.
Let's do this.
All right. 1 second.
Change my
In
answer.
Mary Shelley's original novel,
Never.
Robber, just keep it the way it was supposed to be.
it never actually ascribes an actual name to the monster, but Victor, in referring to his creation, refers to him with 9 separate names in a way. Can you name all of or part of those names?
Okay, wait. Just let me clarify for the listeners. You want us to come up with all the different euphemisms that the professor made for his creation?
Correct.
Okay.
There are 9.
Wow.
They're up to 9. How many can you name?
Okay. I got all 2 of them.
Just for the sake of example, honey buns is 2 words. Does that count as 2 answers or 1 name?
That's a one-word answer.
Okay.
In quotes.
I like how our minds are so in tune, Donna. My answers were very similar.
All right.
Question 3. Do it.
Question,
I've only done
question
6. I
3.
need a few more.
Last one. Reggie actually had a 33-part question quiz, but I narrowed it down to 3.
Thank you.
Divide by
Last
10
one.
for us. Thanks, my bro.
11.
Last
actually.
one. Last one.
I'm no math magician, okay?
Magician.
Frankenstein has been made into hundreds of movies. In the 1931 film starring Boris Karloff, Universal Studios filmed 2 alternate endings, ultimately choosing to release a happy ending to the public. The movie was a success, which eventually led to a popular sequel. What is that sequel called, or its name?
Oh, I got it. I know this one. By Mel Brooks. That's
Hey, that was my answer.
I was going to say the Addams Family.
Okay, you guys ready to do this? with
Let's
the
do
answers?
this. Let's do
Let's
this.
go, okay.
Wait, real quick. Should we each take turns reading an answer?
Yeah, okay. We're going to start question 1. Can you read the question one more time for us, BB? Question 1.
Veet. Out of the 33 games that make up the Castlevania franchise, how many of them incorporate the creature from Mary Shelley's amazing novel, Frankenstein, or the modern Prometheus?
Let's go counterclockwise, Davey.
Let's go clockwise, starting at Eric.
I wrote the correct answer of 0.
Ooh, I almost wrote 0.
Okay, go ahead. Don't tell us if we're right till the
all
end.
right, I did 1.
Okay, I did 6.
I said 3.
Tell us the answer.
Out of the 33, the creature makes an appearance in 20 of them.
Wow. Okay. Totally right. I was the closest. I said 6.
Thanks.
I'm just changing my answer real quick to 20.
Okay.
3 of those 20.
Okay, so tell us question 2 again, my bro.
Wait. Do we have a weird convoluted point system like Brian did last time where it's just like whatever he feels like at that moment?
I did it based upon how many correct answers you got out of what. So I would get 6 out of 33 on this. You would get 1 out of 33.
Yeah, no way.
No, that is not
That's how you do
it
math.
goes.
Okay, so anyways, read us 2.
The second one is who can name the most names that Victor Frankenstein calls his creature.
Okay, tell us who's starting the question. or starting answers?
feel like I
Starting
got this.
answers.
Oh, let
is,
Josh go. Josh feels confident on this.
All right,
one.
I got
Josh
this.
feels-
Hey, you ready?
Yep.
Okay, I got Frank.
Let the record show that I have not interrupted Josh yet thus far.
This minute.
We have just only started our first interruption of Josh.
It's like
quarter.
It's like
But
in those
I-
warehouses where they have the no accidents for this many days.
I
We
just-
have one of those.
I just wanted to make it known that Jake decided you go right now, not you.
Oh, good. Oh, thank you, Jake. All right, ready?
You
I
know
got
what? Actually, can we start with can we start with
All
Brian?
right, fine.
Brian, let's
No,
start
go
off
for
with
it,
you,
Josh.
okay?
Go ahead.
Josh is going.
Before
All
we
right.
change our minds.
I got Frank Bank, Stank Frank, Frank, Jank, Jenks Frank, Reggie Stein, and Frank this.
All of these.
Is that more
all
than
of those are
9?
correct.
That was
Still 11, hoping one of them were right. Okay,
bonus points.
Donna, let's go. Let's go
All
for
right.
it.
I got honey buns.
Didn't we talk about this?
I have Frankenstein.
Ooh.
Nice.
I have husband of bride of Frankenstein.
There you
Nice.
And I have abomination.
Okay,
go. Ooh, I
that's
think that one
good.
might actually be right.
And then
Okay,
what,
that's-
what about you, my Davey?
I got.
Brian, why don't you go next?
Dang
Let
it.
the Dave go.
Let my David.
Hey, this is Reggie's order sheet. I'm just following him. Reggie.
I can't argue with that. Go ahead, Brian.
Okay, I have the correct names: Butts, Son of a Butt, and Buttzilla. All three of those are totally correct.
Wow.
Okay.
I can't top that. Funny wise. Funniness wise.
Funniness.
Funniness.
Which of course leads to the spin-off franchise Buttzilla versus Godzilla.
What about Butt Kong?
Frankenbutt. This is, I should have done that. I missed a totally good name there. Okay.
Okay. I got my son, my boy, Frankenstein Jr., Precious Lamb,
These are all names for Dave's son.
and Lil Greenie.
Little Greenie.
Little
Okay.
Sebastian.
So what's
Little
the correct answer?
Okay, the correct answer is creature, fiend, specter, the demon, wretch, devil, thing, being, and ogre.
And Frank
So-
Bank.
I thought
For all
Abomination
of you-
would for sure be one.
Abomination was closest.
Seeing as how none of you got even one right, I award you 0 points and make God have
All right, and
A simple no would have sufficed.
Are you grading on a curve?
what's question 3?
Frankenstein has been made into hundreds of movies. In the 1931 film starring Boris Karloff, Universal Studios filmed 2 alternate endings, ultimately choosing to release the happy ending to the public. The movie was such a success, which eventually led to a sequel known as
Okay, who you want to start this one?
Josh.
Now we get started again.
All right, you ready? Underworld.
Oh man, that's like Josh's actual favorite movie.
Not I Frankenstein.
Frankenweenie.
I forgot that existed.
That's like Aaron Eckhart's greatest film, right?
Yeah. Not Thank You for Smoking.
Wait,
I Frankenstein.
that's
it's
not
the
the
sequel. Thank you for Frankenstein.
That's not the one with Daniel Radcliffe, was it? What was
no,
that?
that's Horns,
Oh.
where he turns into like a satyr. Or something.
I get this confused.
Okay, somebody go next.
Okay, mine were. I'm gonna steal this from Brian. Young Frankenstein, my idea, and also the real answer, Bride of Frankenstein.
Okay, now go.
I also wrote Bride of Frankenstein and Frankenstein 2: The Frankening,
I put the
where he
real
becomes really frank with everybody all the time.
the real answer is Son of Frankenstein, and I got it right. Thank you, Jake.
Actually, Brian, because of your failure with the answer being the Bride of Frankenstein, we have a 3-way tie between you, Dave, and Eric.
And Josh.
Hooray, we all win.
Wait, why does
With
why does
Josh coming
Brian?
with
Because I got the
with
first
Josh
one
coming
closest.
square and last.
Oh,
You guys weren't even near the first one.
okay. What is
guys
this?
are-
Horseshoes or hand grenades?
Hey, VV, real quick before we let you go, what you've been
Vita
playing?
Vita.
Just tell us the one game you've been playing, what you think about it, what you love about it.
Well, I finally got to open my Switch and been playing that sweet, sweet Zelda. And I know it's cliche. It's called Breath of the Wild, and I've said it before, it really is kind of like a breath of fresh air to the Zelda franchise. I think it does a lot of things right. I know a lot of people were hesitant on the multiple smaller
Butts.
Shrines.
shrines, the smaller shrines, but I dig them. I dug them. I dug the butts and the smaller
We
shrines.
thought these butts were too small. They were like,
This is
great
a
that
Sir
there was-
Mix-a-Lot rap album.
It's great that there was multiple, but they were small.
So Jake, thanks for the cool quiz, man. That was cool.
Yeah.
we'll have to bring you on
Hey.
next BS. Wait, what do you guys say?
Oh, I was gonna say thank Reggie. He wrote this for me.
Reggie, you're a
Wow.
savior. Thank you, my bro.
Thanks, my savior.
Thank you, my savior. We'll talk to you soon, my brosif.
All right, guys. Look forward to seeing you.
Super BS
Later,
out.
man.
Peace out. Bye.
Please out.
Okay, now what are we gonna do with this stock corner? Give it to us.
Sure, yeah. Okay, so should we just start off with the old Nintendo?
Yeah.
The
I wanna
NT
know how they're
Doi.
doing.
Well, they were up today. They were up 1.5%. They closed at $49.40.
Xenoblade Chronicles.
That's
2.
interesting because most businesses close at like 5 p.m.
I know.
They close at
that's
money.
So weird. I know. Only publicly traded companies close at money. Anyways, so what do you guys think about Nintendo's plans to ramp up that production of the Switch? I think they're going to try to make 30 million Switches.
Yeah, that's what they said.
In the next year.
That's crazy.
It's probably a good idea. I mean, they've played the scarcity game with it,
Yeah.
and it's done really well. It's
Yep.
highly acclaimed, and I mean, the only complaint Nintendo ever has with their hardware is that it's not as competitive as the Microsoft and Sony ones, but
It doesn't try to be.
Nintendo,
graphically.
exactly. That's
No,
the thing,
yeah.
and like every couple consoles or so, it really doesn't matter. The Super Nintendo was underpowered, Nintendo 64 was underpowered, the GameCube was underpowered, and that was not as much of a success. The Wii was insanely underpowered.
Right.
It was a
The
massive
most- yeah.
success.
Right.
Accidentally, though, right?
yeah.
That was like an accidental success.
Yeah,
Well,
I didn't know. I don't think everybody.
They know that
expected
everyone's
grandmas
grandma.
to get
Yeah.
Wii Sports.
Yeah.
Nintendo's gonna win this holiday season alone just because they're the only ones releasing like good.
The crazy,
content.
yeah. The craziest thing though is if they sell 30 million, if they sell that number, this is the second highest selling Nintendo or third highest selling Nintendo console after the Wii and the original Nintendo.
Not including handhelds.
Yeah, not including
How many
handheld market
Wiis
is
were sold?
stupid.
Yeah.
Wii was, I think it's this, man, I can't remember the number, but it's 120 million or something like that. But it's really high up there. It's like behind PlayStation 2 and a few others.
Anyways, though, Nintendo's got a lot of other really awesome things cooking for it, and they're really.
Chronicles 2, which I just pre-ordered.
Yeah, it's not on my list, so I'm not going to talk about
That's
that.
the main thing on
I'm-
his list.
I'm actually crossing that. I'm writing it down so I can cross it out. But as I predicted last week that they're going to end the year at $50, I definitely think they're on the way to doing that. They are 60 cents away from that right now. They also had the release of Hulu, or like the announcement that Hulu's going to be on the Switch.
It's on it now.
Okay,
It's
well-
cool they did that finally.
Yeah, I think that was kind of a long time coming, but I think that's great. And then also, Odyssey is, I think, the fastest selling Mario game ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Crazy thinking that, like we just talked about, the Wii sold 120 million units and Galaxy isn't the top selling Mario ever.
Because we had that amazing problem of having the most hardware and the least software. at
Yeah.
the same
It's
time.
the
Yeah.
craziest.
yeah. Interesting. All right, so switching over to ATVI, aka Activision Blizz. They closed today at 64:03, so not 5 p.m. either, just so you know.
Okay.
But they were up 0.64%. So not a huge win, but definitely a win. They're, I mean, not that this is directly connected to them having a good stock season, but people are talking about the Overwatch movie potentially based on like fan-made Overwatch shorts. So what do you guys
That'd be
think
pretty
of that?
cool. I like the Overwatch shorts a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, doesn't really excite me at all, but that's cool.
Yeah, if it was Blizzard sponsored and not like fan based, and I don't know. Did you guys ever see the WoW movie?
No.
I like the WoW movie. I thought it was fun.
It was
Yeah.
okay.
I saw it in
I
China.
didn't see it, but I have a feeling it would.
I would have liked
I'm
more
sure it would've
like
been fun.
backstory with it, but
Real quick, going back to Nintendo, just because you mentioned this, did you hear that they're planning on making a Mario movie
Yeah.
made by the creators of Minions?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not hear
yeah,
that.
Illumination, right?
That
That
was
should have
being
shot their
vain.
stock up $100 million.
Well, it's a rumor because there was also rumors of that Zelda live action series that never happened.
Whatever happened to that Pikachu movie starring Danny DeVito? Did that ever
Oh,
exist?
my
Do you know which
gosh.
one?
Wait, no,
Wow.
Detective Pikachu. That's a
Detective,
game.
yeah. No, they were
No.
making a movie of it
I
too.
thought it was a movie.
I
Sorry
thought
about
that was
a
a joke.
sidetracking. I thought about that.
It pops up on IGN every once in a while.
What do you guys think about? So back to Activision Blizzard. What do you guys think about their statement about World War II Call of Duty selling twice as many copies as Infinite Warfare? Do you think that's true?
I'm sure it's true.
thought
Infinite
it's-
Warfare was like the most hated Call of Duty game ever.
But there's been like very negative reception, not maybe very negative, but less positive than hoped for reception of Call of Duty Warfare 2, right? Or
World War II?
World War
I
II.
mean, here's the problem. Every annualized game, it's this thing where people stop caring. And like they made a mistake with, I want to say Ghosts and Modern Warfare 3. And so the fans, like we have a bunch of buddies who play that series. They used to play that series regularly. And they didn't like the future stuff. So they stopped at Ghosts. And then they played Advanced Warfare for a minute, but it was future. So they got over it. Then there's Black Ops 3, which was future. Infinite Warfare, which was future. They don't care anymore. You know, it's been 3 years.
Yeah,
so they've moved
Activision
on.
leadership even acknowledged that, and they said, yeah, that's why we ramped it back to, or whatever, dialed it back to World War II.
That real quick, that kind of sucks because the creators of World War II, Sledgehammer, they made a great game. Advanced Warfare was awesome, and they wanted to make Advanced Warfare 2, but they weren't allowed to because of what happened with the trend. So
Well, I mean, okay, so I know that we always get on big game companies for, oh, you have to do this because shareholders, blah, blah, blah. I mean, we've seen what happens when a company does really poorly with a game. They lay people off. So it's
Yeah,
like that is,
no,
if that's the alternative, then, make the games that are successful so keep people
it's just
employed.
it's just a bummer because I feel like players can tell. I didn't play World War II, so I don't know how it plays, but
Yeah.
a lot of players can tell when a company loves what they do and when a company has to make this thing, because they have to make it.
If you notice too, with like the announcement of World War II, like that was the first time that like people actually seemed genuinely excited about a new Call of Duty game because they didn't really offer anything new up until this point. In which case, the something new was something old. So, but
Something new, something blue.
some-
It's just a big wedding prep.
We haven't been doing this that long, but I'm sure we all remember when World War II games were like every year.
I thought you were going to call it like a real world of like World War II reference. Like,
Oh,
I know
no.
we don't remember this.
No,
But.
I mean, it's crazy to think like they stopped that. But you guys remember that? Every shooter was World War II.
What were those
for-
games? Medal of Honor?
Medal of
It was
Honor.
Medal of Honor,
Yeah.
Call of
Duty,
Duty.
yeah.
Call of Duty. That's it.
No, there were more than that. He's a liar.
James Bond.
James Bond, World War II.
All right, so back to the stockies. EA was also positive today. They're chilling at 112.27. They were up by 0.23%, not a whole lot, anyways. Yeah, I think we talked about it offline, but EA recently acquired Respawn, or they're set to acquire Respawn for $315 million,
We'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, the makers of the best Call of Duty game. So
and Titanfall.
Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare
Titanfall is a game that's set for loot boxes. So
Yeah.
Oh, for
I think
sure.
that'll be
Titan-
something they
We'll
do.
see what happens with. What's wrong? Oh, yeah, we'll see what happens. It seems like we could probably hold out hope for a really great Respawn game in the future, and then after that they'll suck.
Yeah, I
See,
mean,
it seems like with the big companies like BioWare and things like that getting bought by EA and stuff like that, with Blizzard being an exception, it seems like it's the same as like big beer buying out small breweries. Like they say nothing will change, we just get more money, and then it starts to suck after like 5 years.
That's the same with anything, though.
and I think it's a lot because the creators and the owners who get the buyout money get to leave and then start their own thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
the creator of Minecraft, he sold out for $3 billion, and then he's not a part of that company at all.
Yeah, but EA seems like they're in a position where they could garner really great like goodwill because of the whole most evil company in the world thing.
Yeah.
Because they have their sports division, which is like super profitable, even though everyone hates like critically speaking, like no one cares about sports games. Like every year, sports games occupy like 1 second of the major gaming news because no one cares. And sports games, most people that like the millions of people that buy sports games rarely are that invested in anything with sports games. So it's like a different environment, but it's profitable. Seems like EA, what they should do is just let go some of their shady tactics on their more niche gaming companies, even BioWare, since they're an RPG mostly company, and let them have a little more creative freedom. at the expense of a couple bucks because they are always going to make money on their sports games.
Yeah, but you're talking about like the oversimplification of just the inorganic acquisition process, which is always kind of a dicey subject. And
Speaking of DICE,
right, what?
they own DICE. That's the
Oh.
company that
Named Battlefront 2.
made Frostbite the
Okay.
engine.
Got it.
Yeah.
Anyways, though, so in this situation, they're keeping the leadership of Respawn on, at least for the time being. And as far as that person is saying, I think his name's Vince something.
Vince Zampella.
Yeah, he's spinning the acquisition in a positive light.
Which is crazy because they made such a big deal about how evil Activision was
Yeah,
when
but
they left.
the thing is, they sold out for $400 million. I'm sure Vince is gonna see a good
Well, it's
portion of that.
315
$315?
with some like potential to
okay.
earn out.
I mean, you imagine, like, say he even gets $80 million. That's a lot of money, you know? Like, that's...
Yeah.
And he created the company, so I'm sure he's going to see a good portion of that buyout.
Yeah, what I was going to say that was about just like acquiring companies in general. It's a really rough process, and the chances of having a successful synergization after the acquisition are really slim, especially if you keep on leadership, because the leadership will create some sort of like pseudo coup within the company, and there will be sort of like managerial upsets between the employees working up to their former leadership within the company that was just acquired, and then also outside reporting situations. So it's just like when you acquire something that's like an art generating asset, it kind of pushes the envelope of what's acceptable. And because at the end of the day, these are commodities and these are products, but when there's artistic integrity on the line, that can easily get compromised when you have to do like real business butt stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's what happened with BioWare. The everyone left, basically. I mean,
Yeah.
The doctors.
the doctors
Oh,
left.
doctors are out.
Well, you've been a part of companies that have either acquired others or you guys were never acquired.
You're from
but
EA, right?
Yeah,
You were-
I acquired EA
Yeah, he's-
myself
you acquired
personally.
EA personally.
And that's why I'm speaking to experience, because I've been involved in situations where the companies are either happy with the acquisition or they're extremely upset about the acquisition. It's a horrible synergistic process, and that's just talking about like hardware components and like there's like no artistic integrity in the line at all. So I can imagine it being even crazier when it's something like this.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine if any of us worked on something that we loved and then we somehow got money, but we still wanted to make that thing we
Yeah.
loved, then we don't want to
But
just
I
say
think-
you can take over.
I think at least critically speaking, because I mean this comes to the same thing that I was just saying with sports. Like EA Sports can do no wrong. I mean, I know that
Yeah,
different.
it's a slam dunk.
Yeah, boom! It's a total touchdown. But I mean, like
It's a total field hockey.
But in the sense that like it's an easy formula, and then people get outraged when there's like tons of transactions that go along with sports games and stuff. But for the most part, no one really cares because people are going to buy sports games. But it seems like this. Dang it, I forgot my point. It had nothing to do with.
That's
Lost
actually
it.
kind of funnier in the end,
Yeah.
but
That's not a slam dunk.
that is not a
No.
slam dunk.
Should I jump back into stocks?
Oh yeah,
And
we
you
got a
can
few
come
more
back in if you
to
remember.
talk about, right?
We can do. Let's skip. Actually, we
EA's
should do
always
Take
the
Two.
most fun though, just because they always. We give a lot of hate to EA. They had some great games in the past. Mirror's Edge. They do
Oh.
a lot of annualized.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Brand recognition and brand loyalty and brand quality. These are things that are becoming, I think, more recognizable to people. And when we were kids, Super Nintendo, there's no internet. Those kind of things.
Yeah.
You don't know all the stuff that's going on with a brand. You see a brand, and you're like, oh, I know this is gonna be good and right up my alley. But now, people are wary of EA. At least critically, they see what happens when like a studio like BioWare's quality becomes less and less as it goes on under these things. And now, the big name BioWare that EA bought, it's not as valuable anymore because their games are not doing as well.
And brand loyalty as a whole, like I don't want to delve too far out of games, but like even Apple's newer phones are selling less than their older ones. Like people just don't. They don't care about these brands because the brands.
Consumers are too smart now.
Yeah.
They're too savvy.
It's not just like, oh, hey, Samsung released a new thing. Let me go buy one. Like.
I mean, those people will always exist. There will always be brand loyalists.
Yeah, but there's just not a ton of
Do
them
you think
anymore.
that people are more likely to get burnt out now too of certain things?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because people will be wary of, they'll get burnt out for the right reason, that something is not as good.
So, I accidentally bumped the computer, but we're talking about the stocks. We're going to skip Take-Two. They didn't really have an eventful...
No, they did. I just don't want to talk about it again.
I'm sorry. We lost like about 2 or 3 minutes of
Take
recording.
two.
Take two.
Take two.
Take it away.
Okay.
Basically, they just had a really, really huge jump in stocks last week, almost 11% because of their earnings.
What are they getting these earnings on? Just GTA 5 still?
I don't know.
I mean,
They just beat their quarter.
They released LA Noire again on everything today, so that's kind
No,
of...
no, no.
Are they 2K18?
It's not today stuff. This is last quarter's results.
Oh, is this 2K or Take-Two?
Take two.
Take-Two is the GTA team, yeah. 2K is the other one.
You're right. So this is exactly what we were talking about, how present day announcements don't
Affect it.
necessarily
Affect
don't
it, but I'm
always
just saying
affect it.
they released a big game today, so I thought it was interesting.
Okay, but it just didn't have any effect on it.
So it affected it totally.
It just affected it totally. Okay, so lastly, really quickly, Sony, people are predicting that their stock is going to go up 20% in the next little bit because of their gaming sector and their phones or something like that. Like the computer, the camera that they're going to be putting in their phones or something like that.
Sony's phones or the camera that will go in other...
I
okay.
think it's the camera that will go into the phones.
We have some buddies who do phone stuff, and all of them recently told me that they're getting rid of their Canon equipment and buying Sony. So maybe Sony's camera stuff is like top of the line now.
Well,
I
anyways,
don't know.
because of that and their gaming sales, the stock in total is predicted to go up 20%, which is huge. And it's already a $46 stock, so
Josh,
invest.
you do a lot of video stuff.
Yeah. So Sony actually has some really good cameras. Like they're kind of invested more in the mirrorless technology, so you're bouncing light around less places inside the camera, and it actually looks really good. I know a lot of people who have purchased the new A5, and it's a very nice camera.
Okay, yeah, I was just curious about that because a couple of our buddies bought one recently.
Yeah, because they're just investing in technologies that other camera companies aren't doing right now. So, and it's paying off.
Yeah, well, I want to talk about one more. Do we have more stocks, or is it
No,
Sony's
no. We're
Sony's
done.
our last one? We never added Ubisoft, did we?
No, Ubisoft's on there. I just skipped them.
Okay, nothing changed, or
Yeah, just uneventful. We also talked about stocks for like 20 minutes. It's okay.
I love stocks. Okay, If
Remember
there's
when you
one
bumped the
thing-
computer?
I'm sorry, I bumped a computer and had to use the restroom. Super BS, I'm human. I apologize, our fan base.
Super
We love
PS.
you.
Yes. Oh.
Anyways, there was one more news story before we talk. Before Josh is gonna enlighten us on some really things that will help lighten our wallets. Donna introduced me to an article this week about open world gaming and kind of what Nintendo's been doing. We've been...
I like describing it as open world gaming.
It is open world gaming, okay? This is gaming that happens in the open world. No, but we've been showing a lot of love for Nintendo recently between Breath of the Wild, Super Mario, and a bunch of their other games. And yeah, just tell us about the article, Donna.
Oh, it's just an article that sort of talks about the state of games, and obviously, like we talked even just a few minutes ago, we talked about how remember when every shooter was World War II. Also, remember when every game was a platformer, whatever. When every game was a first-person shooter. Yeah. So now every game is a map game, which is a map with tons of objectives and collect things to collect, just constant busy work essentially. With varying success depending on how interested you are in the look and feel of the game. And that's kind of the trend that started with the success of Assassin's Creed. And the article just talks about how Nintendo has kind of taken that formula in two different ways with Zelda and Mario and made it really interesting again by removing in Zelda, where the game, instead of being like a map game where you're constantly, looking for points, instead the map in a sense is the game, because you make the map in a sense, like in that sense where you put markers where you want to go, and then the game is the environment. And it's not like, okay, now I know where I got to go to collect my next like bee for my bee collection and my next like ancient letter for my ancient letter collection.
Yeah, those were the worst. The flags in
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed.
Or just all the like artifacts, like the millions of artifacts in Far Cry games.
Those are dumb. Yeah, I never collected all those.
But and then Mario, on the other hand, does kind of a similar thing where the map is sort of like a hint at where to go. And then when you get further along in the game, you can have things pinpointed on your map. But essentially, these are not games where you're really using the map for anything other than actually using the map the way it's supposed to be. Like, oh, I want to go to this thing that I see over here,
Yeah.
and that's it. It's not like you're basically playing the game while looking at your mini map. Like, all right, I see. Here's my like indicator telling me this point is right here. You know.
Yeah, that's one thing I've noticed that not a lot of games have done, and I think I might just cut you off, Josh.
No,
so
no,
sorry
that's
if I
fine.
did. But I like that Mario Odyssey doesn't have a mini map. You have to
Oh,
actually
yeah.
literally bring up the map, and most of the time I don't care because all the worlds have recognizable points, so I don't really need a map.
Yeah.
So it's great, but
It's essentially like you're playing the game your way. That's what I like about these, like that concept is that like an Assassin's Creed game, you're basically being told how to play. You climb the tower, you get the objectives, and you know you can go to them or you don't have to go to them. But with like Zelda, you pinpoint where you want to go. You are choosing how to play the game. You're shaping your own journey instead of having the developers do it for you.
The way the article describes it too, which is a really great way to describe these particular Nintendo games, is that they respect the player's time.
yeah.
And that's the thing. There's not really. I mean, there are some things that you could do if you wanted to spend hours, like the Korok seeds in Zelda, but for the most part, it respects your time in that sense. And same with Mario. Mario definitely respects your time because it's always fun, and you only have to do as much as you want to do.
Because you can beat the game with only like a couple hundred moons, right?
You beat the game probably realistically in 5 or 6 hours.
Really?
You could easily beat the game in that time.
You could
I
beat
think I spent-
64 in that amount of time, I think, too.
Yeah.
If not faster.
I mean, I probably spent 10 hours to get to the end because I played a little bit extra, but I didn't like stay at every place as long as you can. I didn't do completionist stuff. But I think if I actually ran through it and just did the mainline quests, probably 4 to 5, 6 hours. And it's awesome. I want to actually replay that game. Like as soon as I'm done, like that's
really?
the main.
You'd replay it.
That's kind of what I want to do. Really,
It's really
like,
fun.
Even after you get 999
I just
moons?
all I can think about is like, yeah, there's other games like Wolfenstein that have great stories that sound interesting, but I just
Mario
want
is
to play
particularly
Mario.
delightful.
Yeah, it's just fun. It's like it boils down all the other things that games put in and just brings the fun out. Like
Yeah, and there's something that's nice about Mario is that there is, instead of like 100 different things to collect, which are all kind of the same level of meaningless, it's just the one thing. It's moons.
Yeah.
The whole game is
mean,
based on that. There's
they
not
have
like
one currency that's also interesting to collect, and those
Oh,
are a
yeah,
lot
yeah.
of
Like
fun
the world
too.
specific coins?
Yeah, they have a world.
Yeah.
Oh, and those are so much fun. Like
Yeah.
finding those finding those and moons become equally enjoyable once you get to like you only need 5 more coins. Once I find those last
yeah.
five, I'm like, oh my goodness, I found those coins.
Isn't
Yeah.
it too that figuring out how to get them is just as much fun
Yeah.
as like playing the actual game?
There's my favorite is they take one of the best things they do is they have these little doors you go through or pipes you go down, and they bring you to another like challenge room that is just platforming like this or doing this, and they have the same thing for 2D sections and a whole bunch of other stuff. And in those, there's only 2 moons, and one of them is just like get to the end of this semi-challenging section, and the other one is like get this other moon that
It's
is
hidden
more
somewhere in there,
challenging
yeah.
or hidden, and it's just a blast. Every time you play one of those, there is always a different mechanic to learn, always a new thing. They only last like 3 minutes, 4 minutes, so you're not like, oh, I have to redo this whole section. It's so well made. We could talk about this game though way
So
too
would
long.
you guys consider Mario an open world game?
it's a take on open world games, definitely. Yeah.
It is definitely going to be going hard into our game of the year discussion, which we're gonna start. I want to talk about at the end of this. So we've got a lot to talk about. It's getting a little bit late. Before we end this open world stuff, do you guys have anything else to add? Because we got one last big topic.
Well, that was just to further that point. That is the point. Is that these are takes on open world games where they're more focused in their objectives and more like abundant in their exploration in a sense, because you're not you're not just trying to reach points on your mini map. You know.
Yeah. Oh, it's so great. Not even I opened that today and I realized there's no mini map on the screen. I didn't even realize that for most of the game
Yeah.
because you just don't care.
Yeah, and Zelda has one, but it's not
a main part.
There's not, it's not like every time you're trying to get to a new area, you are like encumbered with like different icons for like, here's your icon for this collectible and this collectible and this collectible.
That stresses me out playing
Yeah.
games like that. I hate it.
The
Yeah.
article also mentions that the map tells a story too in itself. Like you go to different points and it tells you like different facts about what happened in the world and what's happening.
In Zelda or Mario?
Mario, I
in
think.
was it Mario?
Oh,
he was
Mario's
talking
the
about?
best because the maps are all travel brochures for
Yeah,
every
that's
kingdom.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
so great.
That is, and we've talked about this before, but I just want to reiterate, like, the one thing they did when they were making Zelda is they studied how Disneyland does things that interest people, where they did line of sight, and they made something interesting right outside everyone's line of sight.
Interesting.
So you'd want to keep going to the next point.
That's pretty brilliant.
Yeah, it was, man, we could spend a lot of time. We probably will spend a lot of time at Game of the Year. Anything else about Open Worlds before we move on to the last thing?
Before we do a Game of the Year session, I think it'd be cool if somehow I could play one of those games.
We need to figure out a way for you to do that. I love my Switch too much to even let anybody. We'll talk about that off air.
We'll figure that out later.
We're gonna do a Game of the Year thing soon, and we'll probably bring Veet on for a little bit. But Josh, you had something you wanted to talk to us about.
Oh yeah, so
Getting that buying time of the year, my bros.
as you guys know, there's a little day coming up next week called Thanksgiving, and
boring.
yeah. Well, it used to be the day after Thanksgiving, but now it's starting on Thanksgiving. There's a little
Starts like 2 weeks before now.
a little politically incorrect named day called Black Friday. Can we say that on air? Is that cool?
I think now it's become
Now it's a problem.
it wasn't previously.
Did I just make that weird?
Yeah.
All right. So what I have here is a list.
Sorry,
of,
Max.
Max.
I had to call him out.
Okay, wait. Why though?
Why? Yeah, do tell.
We'll talk about this off air.
Okay.
Sorry, Max.
Okay, so what I have here is a list of who is selling what. So I'll get to the good stuff. At Walmart, you can buy a VR bundle for $299 of the PlayStation 4 Gran Turismo Sport, and you save $100. It comes with a camera, headset, and Gran Turismo Sport,
But no PlayStation 4.
but no PlayStation 4. Yeah.
The game that we don't care about at all.
Yeah.
We talk about how much we hate Gran Turismo.
You can as far as consoles go, that you don't have to buy bundles. You get PlayStation 4 1 terabyte for $199.
But it's not a Pro, right?
No.
I mean, the regular PlayStation 4 is pretty good.
What's
and
the
you're going to get an
difference?
Xbox One X, right?
The Pro is
4K.
It's like it's not real 4K. It's a crappier version of the Xbox
PS4K.
One X.
Yeah, I mean, it came out a year ago, so the Xbox One X is much more modern. It has a lot better specs, and it's way more
but
powerful.
basically, it's like the they kind of like Sony kind of jumped the gun on the let's release like an upgraded version of our console this generation, but they didn't really. It is technically better, but almost everyone hates it.
Oh, it's like the S instead of waiting for the 8.
But-
But see,
like the next
Xbox
edition.
One S is actually like an S because it's just
No. I'm talking about like the
He's
phones.
talking about the phones.
Like, I
but-
know.
No.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. The Xbox One S is more akin to the phone S because
Yeah.
it's like
It's better.
it's like slightly modified and upgraded. But the PS4 Pro was marketed as like a full-on upgrade.
Oh.
It'd be
but
more
it's like
a 7 to an 8, whereas it's more like a 7 to 7S, but it got marketed as a 7 to an 8.
Well, would X to
Sorry, we're
would
talking about
Xbox
iPhones.
to Xbox X be
That's almost
8 to 10, 8 to an X?
the Xbox One X is a pretty big.
I don't know. It would probably be an 8 to an X. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. Like same
I
generation.
love this
but
analogy, guys.
Yeah.
Dude, sorry, we're
It all makes sense
Apple.
now.
We definitely don't love Apple.
I'm
on
not a
here.
brand loyalist.
But no, yeah, it's the X is just a lot better. They have numbers against it. PS4 Pro is $100 cheaper though, so it's not like it's like
then the
Yeah.
Xbox.
cheaper a year after it's being released.
but it was always $400 though at launch.
Right, but it's still $400.
Yeah. I mean, you can find it for probably $350 or $300, but I would say the original PS4 or PS4 Slim is pretty good. Anyways, go ahead. Sorry.
All right. So speaking of Xbox, if you want to go to Walmart, you can get an Xbox S 500 gigabyte console for $189.
That's pretty good.
That's not bad at all.
And so they have, as far as games go, they have 36 titles priced at $30. But here's a few of them you can get. You can get South Park: The Fractured Butthole.
Oh man, that's great.
$30?
$30?
That's a good deal.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great.
Uncharted: Lost Legacy, Forza Motorsport 7, Shadow of War, Evil Within 2, Overwatch, Need for Speed Payback, and Wolfenstein 2.
Real quick though, Uncharted Lost Legacy was $20 on Amazon just this week, so I don't know. If
don't buy it at
$30
Walmart. Then.
Was
You can get Call of Duty World War II for $43.
it's not bad.
For $20, here are a few of the titles you can get. You can get Horizon Zero Dawn, Tekken 7, Skyrim Remastered, Forza Horizon 3, Call of Duty Black Ops 2, Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 for Switch, Rayman for Switch, and Injustice 2.
One more time, could you tell me that price for Horizon Zero Dawn?
$19.
Okay, yeah, it's really good. That's a good price.
One more time, can you remind us all that Final Fantasy 15's Noctis was announced for Tekken 7?
Yeah, that is awesome.
is
We didn't even get to
rad.
talk about
Yes.
that. That's enough talking, I guess, about it. But yeah, that's
All right,
awesome.
so we're gonna jump into Target now. If you buy, you get the same price for the Xbox One S as you get at Walmart, but it comes with a free $25 gift card.
That's
Oh,
cool.
nice.
So
Yeah.
it's like almost 160.
That's so smart of them because
Yeah.
you're gonna put it towards a game
Well,
and
yeah,
they're gonna
yeah.
make money off you.
It gives you incentive too. So for $15, here are a few of the titles you can get: For Honor, Forza Horizon 3, Lego Worlds for Switch. What's up?
He wants to make sure he interrupts you at like the best time.
Skyrim Remaster, Final Fantasy 15, Resident Evil, and Watch Dogs 2. For $25, you can get Ghost Recon, Injustice 2, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, Crash Bandicoot, Grand Theft Auto 5, Tekken 7, Lego Ninjago. For $35,
That was racist too, Josh.
Oh, jeez. For
Flipping race.
For $35, you can get Assassin's Creed Origins, Need for Speed Payback, NHL 18, Forza 7, Battlefield 1. The what's that? The expansions, something of the.
Oh, it's I know what you're
Czar
talking
or
about.
something.
Yeah.
For $30, you can get Overwatch, Shadow War, South Park, NBA 2K18, Evil Within 2, Destiny 2, and Wolfenstein. If you want to jump over to Best Buy, they've
That's
got
$30 for Destiny 2?
$30.
Wait,
for
Josh. So
Destiny
for
2.
Best Buy, maybe just tell us like the highlighted cool differences.
Yeah. So here's what you can get at Best Buy that you can't get at other places. You can get Nier Automata
Oh,
for
wow, that's a great game.
$25. You can get
Good.
the Assassin's Creed games are $5.
Pronounced ass-in.
Assassins.
Ass
So
in.
all the games you can get at Target.
They're
for-
small. There's multiple, but they're small.
Multiple, yes. All the games you can get at Target for $30. They're $5 more at Best Buy. But
Oh.
Best Buy does have some Switch games you can get. So you can get Bomberman for $25, Sonic Forces $25, 1-2 Switch for $25.
These are the worst Switch games
And,
ever.
yeah, for some reason.
Bomberman's supposed to be fun, isn't it?
Yeah, but 25, I still think that's like a $15 game. It was
And-
selling for 50 on release. though.
Yeah, well, so they have a brand new edition of Zelda coming out, and they're I guess that's release day on Black Friday for it. They have it at Best Buy. It's
I've
$59.89.
never heard of this.
It's Breath of the Wild Explorers Edition.
It must be the
DLC?
Yeah.
Oh, season pass.
But
must be Season Pass.
yeah, other than that, you can get Best Buy has for $15. You can get Last of Us Remastered, Uncharted, the collection, Ratchet and Clank, For Honor, Mass Effect Andromeda, and Halo 5, and that's it.
So real quick, no deals on actual Switch consoles.
No deals on Switch
Okay.
consoles.
Yeah, not this year, but there should have been. I'm surprised there's not a PS4 Pro deal.
There probably is somewhere, but they may be not announced yet. Amazon will probably have
Yeah,
one.
no,
Pick
GameStop
game.
will do
So
it.
they put the ads online, but you can't like scroll through them. Like they have pictures, and if you can't really zoom in on anything.
So
Yeah.
how did you get? Did you find all that information manually?
Yeah, I just kind of researched it.
Wow.
dude.
Thanks,
a lot
Josh.
Of work. I actually,
I commend thee.
all of
Thank
us
you, guys. Thank you.
online are thanking you. Real quick, we got some house cleaning to do and
Housekeeping?
not housekeeping, house cleaning, like I've been saying every week. Before we do that, let's talk about epic fail today from GameStop. We
yeah.
almost missed this.
Jeez.
They started a used games like rental service,
Which
where
we talked about a couple weeks
Yeah,
ago.
and we were sort of excited about it.
It was
We're
a
like,
cool idea.
Skeptically
I think.
optimistic.
Yeah. I think it's an okay idea that I would have loved 10 years ago, but
Yeah.
it is old. But yeah, it was $60 to get 6 months, and then supposedly at the end of the 6 months, you get to keep one game. That's what they said. Well, anyways, that's been discontinued.
Before it even launched.
Josh, tell us, as our number one GameStop fan, tell us all the stuff about GameStop.
So basically, they were told to take all the advertisement material down for it
Put
because
it
they're
back in the store. Put it in the back of the store.
put it back in the store because and they're told to tell people that their computers can't handle the new system as far as like trading games in and out goes. But I don't think that's true. Like it doesn't sound true to me.
No, it can't be. I mean, maybe it is, but it's probably because of how, one, exploitable this is.
Yeah.
Because, like, I mean, all you got to do, you know, if you have, like, a scratched up copy of a game is just go
Bring
get
it
a
in.
used version and then trade it out when you rent it out and bring it back.
Right.
There's the ability to literally just like they take the most popular used games and then they can't sell those.
Yeah.
Like you have all the Horizon Zero Dawns, all the Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, imagine
you
like
can't
when
buy
they
any of
were
those, like-
imagine like when they were trying to sell Xenoblade Chronicles for $100.
Yeah, you can't do that. Somebody rented that copy.
Even though they were new.
Yeah, and they knew, but they were open. It's the
Yeah.
craziest used.
Do you think they had
That was just as a recap, that was a rare game that was limited in print. So what GameStop did was
GameStop had the full publisher.
It bought
exclusive
its
license.
own copies and then opened them and then sold them used for $100
Yeah.
because they could.
Was that what you were talking about with the exclusive straight from Japan games?
Yeah, like
It-
for Wii. This was
Yeah,
a long
okay,
time
yeah,
ago.
yeah.
I don't
okay.
get that. Why would they open it?
Because they actually
so-
get more money. They
Yeah,
get
because
$40.
because the retail price is
MSRP.
it was $50 or $60 like a normal game, but a used
Oh.
game they can price however they want.
Oh, I see. That's
And
really
they-
funny.
They had the full license too. They were the publisher of that game,
Wow.
but they created the MSRP at 60, probably assuming whatever it won't.
Well, I
you
think
know,
Nintendo determines that, doesn't they? Don't they?
I don't know, maybe, but
I'm not
anyways,
sure how MSRP is determined. I think it's the manufacturer's suggested retail price. That's
Okay.
exactly what it stands for.
yeah. So yeah, Nintendo or the manufacturers decide, but they were the publisher, so they didn't get side that. So they ended up like opening them
That's
and then
so
selling them used.
shiesty.
They did the
Yeah.
same for Zelda Skyward Sword.
Sword?
Yeah, because you found that in stores for 70 or 80. The Metroid Prime trilogy was also sold in stores for way higher than it actually came out at.
Yeah.
And I
really
saw these
weird.
copies; they were pristine. Like if they were used, then the person had never opened them, never
Which is
touched
interesting
them.
too, because GameStop has really weird policies about used games. I've sold a handful of games to GameStop when I'm like, I just want to get rid of the space
Yeah.
they take up, and like that's kind of the main drawback for their rental program anyway. For me, is it's like I've sold back special editions of games, and they literally throw out everything except for the disc. They're like,
Most
oh,
time.
this came with the soundtrack. We can't take this. We like
Yeah.
they like we're not allowed to.
So
It's
dumb.
like why? That doesn't make any sense.
I bought
Yeah,
The Witcher 3 there once, and they tried to sell me just the soundtrack. They didn't even put the disc in there.
Eric probably sold the soundtrack to them. And like,
They
oh,
said they said they throw it away, but they're selling it to you. Okay, before we end, Dave, can you do the house cleaning for us, please? Give us, let us know what's going on in the world and what we should do as listeners and fans and friends.
Oh, yeah, that. Okay. Guys, we want you to rate and review our show. We currently have 10 ratings up on the iTunes store or whatever you want to call it, podcast dealio, and we would love to hear more ratings and reviews from you. We love your feedback. We thrive on it. It's our sustenance, if you will.
It's our baby. and
It's
we
our
love
baby,
you.
and we want to nourish it and love it and feed it. So please do that. We also want you to hit us up on Facebook.
Right.
What is our Facebook page, Josh?
It's just
Super
at
BS?
Super BS Cast.
Super BS Cast. Okay. We also want you to follow us on Instagram. And what is our Instagram?
I want to say it's Super BS Games Cast.
Yeah, I think that sounds right. Let me just check real quick.
Our
We
website,
definitely got,
markzuckerberg.com.
Uniformity on all of our sites.
Yeah.
So don't worry, just find us. It's
uh,
easy.
Also, we're up on Podbean now, so
we are up on Podbean. What does that mean for listeners, though?
nothing, but
Depends on if you like beans.
yeah, it's just
We wanted to tell you we pay for a service.
If-
we
if
just wanted to
you-
rub it in your face. We pay Podbean, okay?
If you get your podcast, if you're one of those people who uses the Podbean app, we are now up on Podbean. And
Okay,
you can catch us
okay.
on
The
there.
Our
five
Instagram is
people
Super
on
BS
Earth.
Gamescast.
To the 5 people on Earth that use the Podbean app, we're there, okay, guys?
Oh, what you could do to help the show is actually download our podcast.
That'd be cool.
When you listen to it, just make sure you download it, because certain apps that we use to track how we're doing.
Well, if you subscribe, it will auto-download, too.
Does it auto download?
Yeah, so if you subscribe, it will, and that would be cool. We would love to keep doing awesome stuff, and we've got a lot of stuff planned. But yeah, if you wouldn't mind subscribing, that'd be cool. We don't want to push it on you.
We want to see the support, and we we love doing the show, but we want to make sure that we're doing it for people.
For more than one other person.
Yeah, more than one
Max,
other
we know you
person.
listen. We love you, okay, man?
So show us your support.
Black
and
Friday aside, Max.
Black Friday aside, Max.
Max, you were probably not going to be here right then, but we wanted to tell you about these deals anyways.
hopefully you
Even
can
though
find it in your heart to forgive us. for
you're PC gamer only.
that. PC gamer, as in politically correct
Um,
gamer.
Yeah, but we have a lot of cool stuff planned. We're gonna do a Game of the Year cast probably in the holiday time because I don't think there's any big games.
Oh,
besides
Max will be
Xenoblade.
in town too.
Yeah, we might try to have some guests on. We're still trying to figure out the logistics of more than 4 microphones. And on top of that, we'll have some mini BSs and a bunch of other. We're gonna try and get more interviews and stuff lined up.
And try to get some Patreon content going as well.
Yeah, I think in the start of the new year, we're gonna do some new cool stuff, and we hope you're all there. We would love to keep doing this. We do it out of a garage, and we love you guys, and it's a lot of fun.
Oh, send us an email too.
Yeah, superbscast@gmail.com.
There you go.
Amen.
Amen.
Cool podcast, guys.
BS.
That's to us people that can feel things. It hurts.